as usual, I'm carrying the Daily Trust newspaper this Saturday. And the front page has a lot, going on. The major story here starts with customs intercepts the Niger Republic-bound grains. The riders are saying it sells 25 kg of rice at 10,000 naira, and CBN slashes duty by 7.3%. Now, I want to get, into the deep part of this story in order to dissect, to understand where all of this decision is coming from. Because we know that the federal government made decision that they were going to bring out, rice and sell it at the lowest price. That way, all the people hoarding would, be at loss, and it would definitely motivate people to reduce their prices in order to get their grains sold out. So this could be a huge step forward, because whether we like it or not, I mean, the economy is not favoring us, but then we're also adding to it. I've literally had a conversation with a seller. She sells pure water, and then she said, oh my God, I just gave my pure water out for the cheapest money. And I asked her, what do you mean by that? She said she sold the pure water for 400, and then just an hour later people are selling it for 500. So she feel like she sold it for the cheapest. And I said, but you bought it in the previous price, so why would you want to take advantage of Nigerians? I mean, it wouldn't even make you rich. So this is the mentality of some sellers in Nigeria. They take advantage of the situation to exploit people, selling old stock for new price, and that is not acceptable. So at the end of the day, we need to cleanse our own heart before we expect the government to do theirs. All right, away from the major story there, we have Senegal's president, that's Macky Sall, agrees to step down in April. Okay, that's a huge step. You find this on page 18. I'm sure we can give the ECOWAS and the AU kudos for that intervention, because there was already a high tension in Senegal that we don't need in the West African region and Africa in general. Away from that, we have Plateau, how Mangu lost its decades-long cherished peace. The writers are saying governments must mop up the arms and embrace all. Elites must change their mindsets. That's according to experts. You'll find that story on page 5 and 6. Yeah, for people that definitely have been around the Mangu areas, I mean, Plateau used to be an amazing place, but then that peace definitely has been lost, and people don't even feel safe again going to that axis. And it's really a sad situation that a once peaceful place, can be shattered like that. We have 2023 polls. Why server failed to upload presidential results? That's according to INEC. Okay, INEC has, been investigating, making a lot of investigation on the 2023 polls and the issues that happened. And it's looking like they have they found out the main reason. So you can find that on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Why we endanger our lives trading along rail tracks. Oh my God, I saw a video trending on social media of what is happening, especially in Lagos, where we saw people standing so close to the rail, and the train was coming at full speed, which we know how trains move. And this person was basically like this. All it needed was the force of the air, from that train to push. And if you should fall forward, of course you'll be crushed. People are no longer scared, and that is the most scariest thing. Other traders were sitting beside, the other rail. And I asked them, I wonder, why would you even put yourself at that risk? Because anything could happen. We've seen how train tend to derail, from its initial rail, and that could be a scary situation. Before you know it, it's at its speedest. Honestly, it's not safe. But then these people are saying this is the reason why they are doing that. You find out on page 27. But honestly, I don't think there's any reason for you to put your life in that much danger. It's so careless and reckless of the people doing that. All right, you'll find that story, of course, on page 24. Below the headmaster, we have cost of rice Kano residents resort to Afafata. Okay, Afafata, that's it. You'll find that on page 27. I mean, one thing you can definitely give Nigerians kudos is the fact that they would always find a better solution. You know, if this isn't working, then they would go for something. I mean, that's human nature in general. Entertainment segment, it has Nigerian albums turning 10 in 2024. I mean, Nigeria's album that has been in existence for 10 years. I'm sure there are some that you have even forgotten about them. You'll find that story on the entertainment segment on page 13. Now, if time permits for us to bring you entertainment stories, then definitely we will dive into, you know, all of this album so that we could reminisce over this amazing album. Well, these are some of the stories that you can find on the Daily Trust Saturday. Now let's move away from the Daily Trust. Let's take a look at the Nation newspaper this morning. It says from the top of the page, federal government will go after economic saboteurs. Minister vows and regulatory enforcement agencies to bring offenders to book. You find that on page 6. CBN hikes the BDC license fees to 2 billion naira. Fixes FX rates for customs and importers. Now, I know that the government are doing everything to curb, you know, the high economic rates, you know, that it's rising, the high prices of everything. But there are some decisions that are too extreme, you know, in my opinion. I mean, fixes the FX rates for customs. Custom has been up and doing, you know, we're talking about the importers are already feeling the heat of what is happening. But then one question I always say is, if you want people to stop the importing a lot of things, then definitely you need to make sure that, of course, you make up, you start producing a lot of things. Without production, there is no way you can just stop importation of trying to frustrate importers. We have to consume, you know, the foreign goods because we don't have, you know, our own local goods here. If we do, I'm sure Nigerians would definitely appreciate that. I mean, there is nothing so extra about the foreign goods. But then when you don't have alternative, then you have to stick to what you have. All right, away from that, the major story on the Nation newspaper is saying 2023 polls, how we survived Naira swap, attacks others, that's according to INEC, says election results reflection of voters' will, and why upload of presidential poll results was slow. There's been a lot of questions for the INEC. Well, they're answering them now. You find that on page 4. Edo 2024, Opebolo Akpata pick APC's LP's governorship ticket. An analysis, it's 3-horse race. You find that on page 5. There's been a back and forth, you know, in Edo. And the only thing I could pray and wish for is for the safety and peace of all the, you know, indigents of that state, because elections these days, you know, it's getting more chaotic by every hour, and it's really a sad situation. We hope that for the sake of the masses there, you know, these parties and their candidates do the needful in order to advocate for peace. Beside that, we have a pictorial, and below the pictorial is saying, Akeredolu, Nigeria lost fearless soldier. That's according to the President Tinubu. How communication skills helped my marriage. That's according to the widow. Slams critics of her relationship with her late husband. I mean, why would even people be criticizing her relationship with her husband? Now, this story you find on page 28, I think, of the newspaper. I can't explain why I killed my mother, says 29-year-old. You find that on page 2. A man killed his mother and he cannot explain. All right, I would say it's a demonic, you know, situation happening there. A really sad one. We hope it doesn't link up to drugs, though. You know, that is one of the things that could get people to do all of these things. We have contracts. EFCC demands anti-graft strategies from presidency, NAS, MDAs. We find that on page 6. And police recover Rivers cult leader Tubaba's body in shallow grave, and how gang boss met Waterloo. Oh, okay. You find that on page 2 and 11. I mean, we all know how gang groups and all that is definitely a no-no because it causes chaos and mayhem in the community. And it involves our youth into thinking there's a lot of things that could be benefited from that, which is really horrible and bad. But then still the loss of someone through that line, which is one of the fear, of course, of, the security agent, the society, and the government. It's really a sad situation for people to go through that kind of ordeal. You're dead and your body is not even respected. People just buried you somehow, and for your remains to be found by police after some time, it's really a sad situation. So why even put yourself in that kind of situation? A really sad one there. But before we move on to the newspaper, more newspapers that we have here, of course, I am joined by my co-anchor, Fatima Ahmed Musa. Good morning.
At this point, I just feel like I'm a guest.
No, you're not. It's always good to have you here.
Good.
Thank you. You too.
We're kind of
course, of course. There is that synergy. There is that love.
Why is that so? But I love it. It gives it this colorful, set and
indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, you're carrying on with the newspaper, and I can see a lot of stories, and you've been bantering with yourself, which you have been actually saying.
There's been a lot, honestly. But then one of the things that I wanted to hear from you was the economic saboteurs. The minister is saying that they promised to go after the economic saboteurs, and Nigerians are not really feeling it. Nigerians are saying at this point we already know some of the saboteurs, so we need you people to do the needful, not just continue saying we are going after them. It's when you come to especially the BDC, the Bureau de Change people, they have had, I think we had, a conversation with them, exactly.
On issue, exactly. With the president himself, the BDC president joining us from Lagos yesterday, which he, made certain points, and I totally agree with him because, he said, how the BDCs are being used to fraud, money laundering and what have you, which, I think the country...
So part of their members?
Yes, the country, the government needs to take a deep look into, that situation. Maybe that will, kind of reduce the inflation rates with some of the things that is happening. Because
for me, Fatima, I feel like they're attacking the wrong, even though they are part of the group, but then the main people that are bringing money to these people doing the money laundry, we all know how these Bureau de Change people tend to start. It's not like they are the most wealthiest or something. Somebody is backing them up. Somebody is bringing the money. So go after those people first. Then we would not Nigerians would take you people seriously.
And sometimes there are people that don't have anything to do with certain situations, but they get caught in the mix of all this, and so yeah, that's just basically what's happening so far. But then talking about the economic hardship that you've been also reading in front pages of the newspapers, and with the NLC still kind of trying to go on the strike, with TUC backing out, and all the whole saga is just something else. But then we understand the economic hardship is really taking a toll on people. Food is expensive. Cost of living is just totally expensive for people, So we just hope that something is going to be done, to tackle this situations.
Talking about, food and hunger, food inflation, at this point, the hunger too is even inflation. It's rising up. Let's take a look at the front page of the Guardian newspaper. There, the major story is also echoing the cry of Nigerians here, and it's saying that hunger thrives in states amid 6.58 trillion naira. That's the FAC allocation in 2023. You find that on page 2. We have a map, pictorial of governors. The Arewa Group 6, the reversal of subsidy policy. Now you find this on page 3. But then it's saying the Arewa, but we all know it's not just the Arewa governors there. I mean, we're seeing a lot of governors. There's the people from Edo, Anambra, and all that. The governors basically all around. And right now it's looking like, some people are pushing for the reversal of subsidy. Honestly, at this point, I don't think I agree with that, because it's like, all the stress, it's just like the Naira redesign policy. Nigerians went through a lot, and it ended up being for nothing, you know, because after all of that, it was for nothing. We suffered all through the Naira redesign policy, and then we came back to using the old Naira notes. I mean, the new Naira note is nowhere to be found, so it was for nothing.
Because I saw one this morning.
It's just few.
After a very long time.
Exactly.
I think this year, I think I'm just seeing the new Naira note for the first time.
Okay, you see, this is what I'm saying,
so
and we are
it's
almost
actually literally scarce. But then the old Naira notes is everywhere.
It is everywhere.
I don't know. There's just this, we need to really plan before taking out some actions. You just don't jump and say, oh, this is what we want to do, and then you just put it out there within a few months and you expect it to last.
That is absolutely.
It's something that the government needs to look into, because people are actually complaining literally about everything, that has to do with this country, from, constructions to education, to cost of living, everything. The economy is just, stagnant, I feel, because it's not moving. Nothing is moving.
I think it's even going back.
Becoming, yes, it's kind of becoming more serious, so.
I guess that was why, some of these group, especially the area group, are saying that there should be reversal. One of the things that experts were echoing all the time was the fact that it was implemented quickly, just removing the whole of 100% of subsidy was going too hard on Nigerians, and definitely everyone is feeling the ripple effects of that situation. A sad one, but honestly, I don't think going back is the best solution. I think moving forward, they just need to listen to the experts and see how we can, move forward. All right, away from that, we have NDLEA applauds Tinubu's support for anti-drug war. You find that on page 3. Yeah, we need to work on that, honestly. Everywhere, when you see people causing destructions and mayhem in the country, it's all due to the influence of drugs. So that would be amazing. I mean, this morning I heard that there was also a battle of banning a sachet alcohol, and people are scared that children might easily take it and put it in their pockets. And we all know when you're intoxicated, of course, it would be, it could cause a lot of sad situations and stories. Below that, we have the 2023 poll, how INEC survived CBN's currency swap attacks and other challenges. We have experts urge the federal government to embrace dialogue over $5.8 billion Mambila Power project. You'll find that on page 29. I mean, there's been that push for the longest time. Below the headlines there, it says, to survive growth, that's the Guardian Woman's segment. To survive growth, we need to have more female champions at C-suite level. That's according to Bolaji Shofolue. I mean, some people would definitely disagree with this, because the whole women supporting women thing, honestly, the fact that we need to echo it all the time, it's making it sound so shabby. I mean, there shouldn't be even anything.
Are we even being heard when we,
exactly
all this,
I mean, when you talk to people, especially women, and they tell you that they have come across superiors, like women already winning.
Yeah.
The most majority of the stories, now you tend to hear good ones, but then majority of the story, like 90% or let's say 80%, not to make all the women look bad, but 80% would tell you their experience with another female at the top position was not good. So definitely, I understand what she's saying, but I do not really agree with it based on what we are seeing. Women are supposed to pave way, just like sometimes you see men paving way for other men, giving them opportunities. But we've seen how sometimes men even give women better opportunities than women do for themselves.
I don't know, like you rightly said, not to make us look bad, but then
when a woman make them look bad. I mean,
we are women.
We're different.
the gender that I'm talking about at this point. So I don't be hard. So like I actually have had my own share of the experience, working with a boss, a lady boss, So I totally understand what this person is saying. It's really sad, because when they have the power together. When they have the power, we always, singing and, speaking out that, okay, let women have this equality, let us have same treatment as, our the opposite gender. And then, but then when the woman is on that seat, it's something else. And even the other genders are also complaining, working on that woman. Also.
And who better to drag a woman to the top than another woman who is already at the
if
top.
you are saying, oh yeah, we want to give women opportunities, then when you're on that seat and you hold the power to support other women, not just women, everybody, including men, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
But then give the room for the women to also grow, so that's just, I think,
that's the point. She's trying to tell you do that and forget the whole jealousy and unnecessary competition, because you cannot even do it alone. All right, beside that, we have the Saturday special on the Vanguard. It says ban on sachet alcohol. Okay, I was talking about that. Between 800 billion naira business investments and the life of Nigerian children. Now, these are some of the stories that you can look for on the Guardian newspaper today.
Okay, so let's take a look at the Vanguard this Saturday. The major story there says, Nigeria's to lawmakers, we need new constitution, a restructuring, not parliamentary system. You can find our story on page 11, revisiting 2023 general elections 1 year after. The spectre of democracy fatigue. And you can find our story on page 9 and 10, how 2023 elections suffered glitch. INEC out with 526 pages report in seats poll reflected wishes of Nigerians. So you can find our story on page 5. Sumaya, I heard you talking about it earlier, with the whole revisiting of the 2023 elections, that is the kind of stepping stone to some of the things that, is even happening now. And some states are still, kind of carrying out with elections and what have you. So yeah, you can find our story on page 5. And then above the belt there, elogies as Akeredolu is buried. You can find our story on page 6. And hunger protest, Yoruba rulers, elders rally around Tinubu Owolowo of Iwo. Replies northern leaders. You can find that story on page 19. Edo 2024, how Ekpoho flawed Ida Hosa won APC ticket. You can find that story on page 5. Now, Sumaya, that's another thing. We just talked about the states, the whole saga, with some of the states back then, some months ago, when some governors were reconfirmed, I don't know if you remember with the Zamfara, the Plateau, the whole election saga and all. Yeah, so this is another one. But then, at least someone won the ticket. You can find that story on page 5.
It's crazy. But then, APC in Edo, it's a bit calm. Unlike the other parties, the PDP. PDP has been back and forth.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone wants
I do not want to go into that. I don't want to go into that. Before we can change something. And that's Cynthia Morgan, It's been a long time I have seen her. She used to be one of my favorite artists, and she is.
There is a lot of
her songs.
There is a lot of controversy around Cynthia. I mean, we saw her coming out to talk about someone cursing her, a relationship with someone.
The interview.
Yes, someone is in Black Magic.
A couple of months, I think sometime last year.
I don't know the full story of that situation, but then her career went from top, to bottom, literally. And
but she's still good, she can always come back.
Have a comeback.
Because she's one of the female artists. I think she's a very good rap artist. Indeed. I don't know if you know that, but yes, she is. You can find the story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the front page of Tribune. I mean, because of what is on it. It says, mother of DPO, we've recovered cult leaders' cups. That's according to Rivers Police. How two pastors and herbalists connived to kill a lady, use her body parts for money ritual. When would we learn that you don't get money from killing people? Clerics tells Tinubu at Akeredolu's burial, how you said it's your turn. Now save Nigerians from hunger. All right, you find that on page 4. Varsity teachers lament hardship and threaten strike. Okay. You find that on page 5. There is also a replica of every thing happening on the INEC angle here also. and also the Edo ticket. Well, students clash with NDLEA and police in Kwara, and analysts speak on police coordination on economy slips. A really sad situation. I want to get to know more about the students.
Yes, clashing with the NDLEA, it's always it has to do with drugs.
Yes.
Exactly,
so the police will
and
definitely come as backup to help them.
Yeah, and there's this thing with students and drugs. Basically, let me say just youths. With drugs, and the youths are actually the ones in the universities and in schools.
Exactly.
So when you see things like that, it's yes. We've been fighting this drug thing, but then you just don't know where it keeps coming from.
Yeah, I mean, while you're fighting the people taking it, you should also look into who is bringing it in. True. Yeah, that would cover it. Now, quickly, because of due to time, I just want to take the major story on the Saturday Punch. It says the cost of living protest. Now, TUC faults NLC and says action may bring anarchy. Explains why union won't join two-day rally against hardship, and the artisans, traders back protests say hardship is affecting businesses. Now the TUC have taken a back step on this, and Fatima mentioned earlier on that one. So you find that on page 4 and 12 of the details why TUC are saying that NLC going on strike, it's not the wisest decision. But I'm sure NLC have had their own thoughts and have a solid reason of why they want to go there. We have love turned sour, how jilted lovers take fatal risks and commit suicide. A terrible situation there. Well, we went from love to death. Fans attacked Toyin Abraham over support for Tinubu. Okay, at this point we need to stop doing that. Stop attacking people for their choices. I mean, parents need to do better in telling their children that it is okay for people to have their choices. I mean, just because the decision or the choice people make at the end of the day might not be really right, which at this point, due to the economy, I feel like anybody that had been the president would definitely also have to handle all of this. So we need to stop attacking people for their choices. It's a terrible thing to do. It speaks more about your own character than the other person's. Buhari, not Tinubu responsible for rot in Nigeria, says Igboho. Okay, now someone is, defending the president, saying it has been there, which is something that also people have come here to say. It's also something that has
been there before Buhari came on stage, so it's not Buhari.
Exactly.
Way back,
way back.
Yes.
And this is the effect of, sabotage, a lot of economic saboteurs working harder than the devil to make sure they wreck the economy right from day one. So it's not just that it was just during this administration that just started barely a year ago that has caused all of this. It has been, and everybody has agreed with that. So please, let's stop, pushing blames right now and find possible solutions out of this situation.
So that's just it. But then let's quickly take a look at numbers today. I am taking it over from you, and I'm loving it. So yeah, let's take a look at numbers on the Daily Trust newspaper. It says journalists from 7 states in Northwest trained in advanced data journalism by Daily Trust Foundation 22. It's been on the newspaper, the online since yesterday or 2 days back. It's been everywhere. So yeah, 22 journalists have been trained by the Daily Trust Foundation.
Yes, I mean, the Daily Trust Foundation,
that's a plus
group
for,
of the Media Trust Group.
Yes,
have
because they will go out there and keep spreading the information.
Exactly. And one thing is for sure, we all know how Media Trust Group. We have the Trust TV, we have Daily Trust newspaper, we have Trust Radio, Armenia, and the Daily Trust Foundation under the umbrella of Media Trust Group, trying to definitely bring the factual news into the economy, because we all know how the danger of a very sad or lies from media could cause. So definitely it's like giving their own quarterback to the society. So we appreciate them for that, and for those factual news that you need, then of course you can follow all of this channels,
and click on the Daily Trust newspaper. Yeah, so Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention said died of Lassa fever in 6 weeks from 411 cases in 21 states, so 72.
In how many days?
In 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
My question, Fatima, is where does this disease come from? Like 1 minute we are free of them, and then the next
You know, there's the saying is it comes
Okay,
from
hold
mice.
on.
Yeah.
Mice comes when there is no inflation. When there is
What do
food
you
in
mean?
abundance.
Whether there is inflation or not, mice will always be looping around your
Right
area.
now there is no food. So where are they coming from? That's the question. What are they
Well,
eating?
maybe
It can't be
we are
our
going
food.
to maybe we are going to get you a meeting with them. You can ask them where they are coming
You know,
from.
it's really a sad situation.
Yeah,
though,
it is
for the
actually.
lives
So
that
yeah,
have
we
been
need to
lost.
spread more, enlighten people on how to keep their environments clean.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with hygiene at the end of the day.
And also we know how the mice tend to create holes.
Exactly.
So you enter your store and check if there is any hole and make sure you cover
just keep
it up
cleaning,
with a
just keep cleaning. It doesn't really matter if there are mice or not, just keep cleaning. Okay, so members of the Academic Staff Union of University Abuja as one said died due to current economic hardship, poor remuneration, 46 so far.
That is really terrible.
Yeah,
it's really terrible, honestly.
It is.
I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, situations of poverty, a lack of having something to do, thinking men have been slumping to die. It's really a sad
It's really
situation.
sad, So yeah, and then let's move on quickly. Oil rigs Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission said active from 11 in 2011. They are 30 in numbers.
A large
Now
number.
yes, it is. From 2011, they were in 2024. So yeah, it is a large number. But then pick on the Daily Trust newspaper and you can go through, the stories. And that's it for the newspaper review.